First of all, I would like to talk about the kind of reporting that took place amidst Muzaffarnagar riots. That itself was very problematic. Indian Express reported a lot of sufferings in the camps and all that, which is very apt and what was the right thing to do. But all these mainstream parties missed out to report that who orchestrated the violence. They held the state government accountable, that Samajwadi Party government was there and it was accountable, it was complicit in the right, it was right to talk about it. But at the same time, since 2014 elections were coming and we all knew that who these major news organizations were serving to, they did not talk about all that happened before riots, 2 months before, for years before riots. There was a ground being prepared there were symbols used to polarize community. Love jihad was introduced as a concept to divide, create hatred between communities. Jats and Muslims have lived for long, very peaceful, coexisted very peacefully for long. They did not have any violence amidst the division of this country when the entire country was burning. So that was the relation Jats and Muslims shared there. And over a period of time, there was a culture where these people, these Saffron Gundas knew that Jats are not a very religious community, and then they have to be instigated by something else. And the best way to instigate them for Jats, land is very precious. The dignity of their woman is supposed to be very precious to them. So they knew that women, if they arouse them. Newspapers did not talk about it. They just talked about humanity. Talked about issues that there was problem with there was problem with the camps. There were people dying in the camp, which was equally important. It had to be done. But at the same time, it was important to talk about the politics behind riots, which was missed completely. And also, I mean, there is. I believe that. Compared to other riots which took place in UP in the earlier years, before 2014, UP has been a hotbed of communal riots in the recent years. So that was not at all reported by major newspapers, but 2014 communal violence, which was of course large in intensity and it was a major event in India, had to be reported. But these these major media organizations had notorious intentions behind it because they knew that the kind of reporting that they're doing amidst the violence is going to support a particular political party, and that happened. This was the first time in UP 2014 elections that BJP got 73 seats. That did not happen even at the time of Babri Masjid demolition. Now for people like us, who report from there, who report from who report amidst communal conflicts. So we are told to be objective. If we are working for a mainstream newspaper, we are told to be objective. But then for me, doctrine of objectivity, which is considered to be a Bible in journalism, is absolutely farce. There are two kinds of objectivity, doctrine of objectivity and personal objectivity. Doctrine of objectivity for me is farce. And I would like to quote P. Sainath on that, who's of course an inspiration for me and many of us here. So P. Sainath talks about doctrine of objectivity. I have very serious issues with the use of the term objectivity by the second thing is when he talks about doctrine of objectivity, he says that I consider it as a fraud and really ends up giving the last word to the authority and the powerful. Incidentally, all the doctrine of balance and two sides goes out the window with a major interest in the newspaper. The honesty with which you deal with the subject. The first thing about being honest is to accept that our value system have an impact on us. Now the day we accept that journalism is a very subjective art is the day we begin striving for objectivity. Now if I start with the myth that I'm objective, then you will actually be committing a very serious disservice to your readers, our viewers or listeners. If you start from the point of view that we all have our deep subjective we all are affected by our sensitivities and our socializations, then you know what to look out for. You know the biases and prejudices that to watch out for you for when you write. So this is very important. The second, this kind of a personal objectivity is very important when you write. You have to watch out your own biases, things that is there in your own mind, the kind of, that is. With the story to my and give it to my editor. So the editor will always say that this story is not objective. This by doing the story, you are you are taking side of a secular of a political formation, and you're defaming the other political formation. So what to do if I've investigated this? If I've investigated the whole scene of the conflict, I've met people, both affected parties, and I've come to a conclusion that this side is this party is at the wrong side, then I will report that, because I have decided to do journalism to report the truth, and I have to report the truth. So I don't think no. So this is a problem when you go and report from a come back after reporting from a communal situation. Now, of course, there are many other problems. Once you visit there, you are affected. You are a human being in the end of the day, and you have sensitivities. You are affected by the kind of atrocities you come across, the kind of atrocities on children that have happened with children, that have happened. What women have to go through. So these things, of course, you have a hangover of these things for a long time, and that affects you, the person. Now, another important thing to note is that we have most of us in mainstream media organizations consider police to be some holy cow, and we always report the police version. I will talk police or any state agencies, be that police or any official state agency. So I will talk about Malakpura camp. When I visited Malakpura camp in Shamli district, which is located around 18 kilometers away from Muzaffarnagar. So I visited the camp. Next to the camp was a graveyard. And I went and asked the chief medical officer there was some authority concerned. So I went and asked him how many children have died from here. So they said 0. Then I went and asked those living in the camp that how many people have died. They told me 4 or 5 children have died. So I asked them, what is the proof you have that 4 or 5 children have died? They took me to the graves and showed that these are very fresh graves. So I went back to those officers and told them that these people are showing me graves and you're saying that there's no one who has died. And I took them along and showed those graves to them. They had nothing to say, they were embarrassed. So what others will do is that they will take that version and print that version as they have given it, and the truth will never come out. So these things, when you report such conflict, you really have to be careful about these things. So apart from that, of course, there's a lot to say, but then there's time limitation. It's already 8. So I would conclude by saying that apart from all this, I think as journalists, as sensible journalists, we also have to play the role of peacemakers while reporting a communal conflict. It's not that everyone during a conflict is a perpetrator of a crime. There are a lot of good people who actually help others, both from both communities. The communities that are involved in an act of violence. So we have to bring out those stories as well. We have to do some positive stories.